When I was 17, I got my first job at Walmart. It wasn't glamorous, but it helped pay the bills. My shift was from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. The graveyard shift, they called it. It wasn't long before I learned why. Walmart is eerie at night. The aisles, usually bustling with life, were empty and silent. The fluorescent lights cast long shadows, making the store feel like a labyrinth. It was just me and a handful of other employees, each lost in their tasks. The hum of the refrigerators in the food section, the occasional squeak of a cartwheel, and the distant beeping of the register were the only sounds that broke the silence. One night, around 2 a.m., I was restocking shelves in the electronics section when I felt it. That prickling sensation at the back of my neck. Someone was watching me. I turned around, but the aisle was empty. Shaking it off, I continued working, but the feeling didn't go away. I glanced up at the security mirror, catching a glimpse of a shadow at the edge of the aisle. My heart skipped a beat, but when I looked directly, there was nothing. Over the next few nights, things got worse. I'd catch glimpses of movement out of the corner of my eye, but when I looked, no one was there. I heard footsteps behind me, but when I turned, I saw nothing. I told myself it was just my imagination, a side effect of working such late hours. My coworkers seemed oblivious, busy with their own tasks. I didn't want to seem paranoid, so I kept it to myself. Then came the night I couldn't ignore it any longer. I was in the stockroom, sorting through boxes, when I heard a noise. A soft shuffling, like someone dragging their feet. I peeked out into the main store, and there he was. A man, tall and thin, standing at the end of the aisle, just staring at me. He had a bald head and an unnerving grin on his face. His clothes were dirty and torn, as if he had been living on the streets. I tried to play it cool and went back to my work, but my heart was racing. Minutes later, I heard the shuffling again. Closer this time. I looked up, and he was standing just a few feet away, his grin wider, eyes fixed on me. The fluorescent lights above flickered, casting eerie shadows on his face. "Can I help you?" I managed to stammer. He didn't respond, just kept staring. His eyes were dark, almost black, and his smile never faltered. I felt a chill run down my spine. I grabbed my box cutter, a pathetic attempt at feeling safer, and walked quickly to the front of the store where my coworker, Mike, was manning the register. Mike was a big guy, always cracking jokes, but he looked serious when he saw my face. "There's a guy in the stockroom," I whispered urgently. "He's been following me." Mike glanced over my shoulder and his eyes widened. "Stay here," he said, and went to check it out. I watched him disappear into the stockroom, my heart pounding in my chest. The minutes dragged by, and every creak and groan of the building made me jump. A few minutes later, Mike came back, shaking his head. "There's no one there," he said, his voice calm but his eyes concerned. I didn't know what to think. Had I imagined the whole thing? But it felt so real. I decided to stick close to Mike for the rest of the night. Every shadow seemed menacing, every noise a potential threat. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The next night, I was hesitant to go to work, but I needed the money. My shift started like usual, but around midnight I felt that familiar sensation, the prickling at the back of my neck. I tried to stay busy, focusing on my tasks, but the unease was always there. I was in the toy section when I saw him again, reflected in the mirrored end cap. He was standing at the end of the aisle, closer this time. I spun around, but he was gone. My hands were shaking, and I dropped the toys I was holding. I knew I couldn't keep this to myself any longer. My heart pounded as I rushed to the front of the store, finding Mike again. "He's back," I said, my voice trembling. "I saw him in the toy section." Mike nodded, his expression serious. This time we both went to check the security footage. We sat in the small, cramped office, watching the screens intently. What we saw sent chills down my spine. There he was, lurking in the shadows, following me through the aisles. But every time I looked, he seemed to disappear into thin air. His movements were erratic, almost inhuman. We called the police, but when they arrived, there was no trace of him. The officers searched the store and the surrounding area, but found nothing. I quit that job soon after. The experience left me rattled, and I never worked a night shift again. To this day, I can't walk into a Walmart without feeling a shiver down my spine, wondering if the night shift stalker is still out there, watching. But the story didn't end there. A few weeks after I quit, I received a call from Mike. He sounded shaken. "I think he's following me now," he said. "I've seen him outside my house, just standing there." My blood ran cold. Was this man targeting us? And why? I told Mike to call the police and to stay somewhere safe. We kept in touch over the next few days, and he seemed on edge, always looking over his shoulder. One night, Mike called me in a panic. "He's inside my house," he whispered. "I can hear him upstairs." I urged him to get out and call the police, but the line went dead. I tried calling back, but there was no answer. I didn't sleep that night, my mind racing with worry. The next day, I learned that the police had found Mike's house empty. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle, nothing. Mike was missing. The authorities launched an investigation, but there were no leads. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. I couldn't shake the feeling that the stalker was responsible. The man with the unnerving grin and dark eyes. I started seeing him everywhere, in the reflections of windows, in the shadows of alleyways. My paranoia grew, and I became a recluse, afraid to leave my house. Months passed, and there was no sign of Mike. I tried to move on with my life, but the fear lingered. I couldn't trust anyone, couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. One evening, as I was locking up my apartment, I noticed something strange. A small, folded piece of paper wedged in my doorframe. My hands trembled as I unfolded it. Inside was a single, chilling message. "I'm always watching." I knew then that the nightmare wasn't over. The stalker was still out there, and I was still his target. I installed security cameras around my apartment, changed my phone number, and even considered moving to a different city. Despite all my precautions, the fear never left. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside sent my heart racing. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. The terror consumed me. Years later, I still don't know who he was or what he wanted, but I know this. The night shift stalker is real, and he's out there, watching, waiting. And no matter where I go, I'll always be looking over my shoulder, wondering if he's found me again. In the heart of Chicago, during the blistering summer of 1995, life was a mix of challenges and small joys for my family. Our small apartment complex, nestled between towering buildings and bustling streets, housed my mom, older brother, and me. The city, notorious for its high cost of living, was a constant pressure on my mom, who tirelessly worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. Anyone who has lived in Chicago knows the relentless grind it takes to survive, especially within the city limits where expenses mount like the skyscrapers themselves. Despite these hardships, my mom always found a way to make my birthday special, and this year was no different. She handed me $50, a small fortune in my eyes, to spend on whatever I wanted. Just a few blocks away from our apartment was a Walmart supercenter, a haven for kids like me, stocked with everything from toys to video games. The latest Grand Theft Auto game had just hit the shelves, and I was eager to get my hands on it. My brother, who was 5 years older than me and much taller, agreed to take me to the store. He was my protector and my best friend, always looking out for me. As we entered the Walmart, the cool blast of air conditioning provided a stark contrast to the humid, oppressive heat outside. I wasted no time making my way to the electronics section. My eyes lit up as I spotted the game I wanted, and I quickly grabbed it, clutching it like a prized possession. As I turned to leave the aisle, I saw a man I didn't recognize coming around the corner. He was tall, with a gaunt frame, wearing a white t-shirt that seemed a few sizes too big, torn cargo shorts, and a baseball cap emblazoned with the word Nirvana, a band I knew only from my brother's old cassette tapes. Growing up, my mom had always taught me to be polite, so when the man waved at me, I gave him a friendly nod. It was a reflex, a simple gesture meant to acknowledge another person's presence, but I quickly regretted it. The man approached me, extending his hand for a handshake. As he got closer, I was hit by the overwhelming stench of vomit, and I had to fight the urge to recoil. His voice was raspy, as if he'd spent the last few decades smoking cigarettes, and he asked if I liked video games. I nodded, trying to keep my distance while making it seem like I was still looking for another game. In a feeble attempt to end the conversation, I told him I did, and began to walk away. He mentioned that he had a son who also liked video games, but something about his demeanor felt off. The way he smiled, a thin, almost predatory grin, sent shivers down my spine. I muttered a quick, "That's cool," and walked faster toward the front of the store, hoping he wouldn't follow. I glanced over my shoulder and saw him trailing behind me, keeping a careful distance. My heart began to race, and I picked up my pace, nearly running to where my brother was waiting for me at the entrance. I whispered urgently to him that we needed to leave now. My brother, sensing my panic, didn't ask questions. As we hurried out of the store, I looked back one last time and saw the man standing by the entrance, watching us. He didn't follow us outside, but the look in his eyes was enough to haunt me. My brother and I got into the car, and as we drove away, he asked what had happened. I told him everything, my voice trembling. My brother's face grew serious, and he told me not to mention this to our mom, knowing she would be worried sick. For the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I found myself constantly looking over my shoulder, half expecting to see the man from Walmart lurking around every corner. Then, about a week later, something happened that cemented my fear. It was the last day of school, and I was waiting at the bus stop early in the morning. The air was thick with fog, creating an eerie atmosphere that made the familiar streets feel alien and threatening. As I stood there, the distant rumble of an engine broke the silence. A red pickup truck slowly emerged from the fog, its headlights cutting through the mist. My heart sank as I recognized the driver. It was the same man from Walmart, wearing that same Nirvana hat. He rolled down his window as he approached, gave me that same unnerving smile, and winked before driving off. The bus arrived moments later, and I scrambled aboard, my hands shaking. I didn't tell anyone about what had happened, not even my brother. The encounter had rattled me to my core, and I wanted nothing more than to forget it. Over the summer, we moved to a different part of the city, and life gradually returned to normal. The man in his red pickup truck became a distant memory, something I could almost convince myself had been a figment of my imagination. But deep down, I knew it had been real. Years later, as an adult, I still think about that summer. I wonder who that man was and what his intentions had been. The experience taught me a valuable lesson about trust and intuition. It made me more cautious, more aware of my surroundings. In many ways, it shaped the person I am today, always vigilant, always prepared. The city of Chicago, with its vibrant culture and relentless pace, holds many memories for me, both good and bad. It's a place where I learned to navigate life's challenges, where I forged strong bonds with my family, and where I had my first brush with real fear. Even now, as I walk through crowded streets or sit in a quiet park, I can't help but feel a lingering sense of watchfulness, a reminder of that summer long ago when a simple trip to the store turned into something far more sinister. In a small American town, a Walmart stood open 24/7, a beacon of light in the darkness. Its fluorescent lights flickered occasionally, casting an eerie glow over the aisles. For many, this store was a place of convenience. For Alex, a new employee, It was an opportunity to earn some extra cash while working the graveyard shift. He had always preferred the quiet of night, believing it to be easier and more peaceful. On his first night, as the clock struck midnight, the store felt particularly still. The only sounds were the soft hum of the freezers and the occasional beep of the checkout scanner. The aisles were lined with products, but they felt more like tombs than shelves, holding secrets from the past. As Alex was stocking the shelves in the grocery section, he noticed a shadow move out of the corner of his eye. He brushed it off as a trick of the light, but a chill crept up his spine, making him second-guess his decision to take this job. Later, Alex took a break in the staff break room. As he sipped his coffee, he overheard a couple of co-workers whispering at the table next to him. Their hushed voices sent a wave of unease through him. They spoke of the man in the blue vest, a legend among the night shift workers. It was said that a former employee had mysteriously gone missing during a night shift years ago, and some claimed his ghost still roamed the store, searching for something he could never find. Feeling a mix of fear and curiosity, Alex decided to investigate. Armed only with a small flashlight, he ventured down the aisles, determined to uncover the truth. The store was empty, and each aisle seemed to stretch endlessly into darkness. As he turned a corner, he spotted something out of the corner of his eye. A figure in a blue vest, standing motionless at the end of the aisle. "Hey," Alex called out, his voice echoing in the stillness, but the figure didn't budge. Heart pounding, he approached slowly, but as he reached the spot, he found the aisle empty. Confused, he shook his head, thinking it must have been a trick of the light. As he turned to head back, an icy breeze swept past him, raising the hairs on the back of his neck. The rest of the night felt like a blur, filled with strange noises and fleeting shadows. As he stalked the pet aisle, Alex stumbled upon a small dog left behind in a shopping cart, its leash still attached. There was no sign of its owner, and an overwhelming sense of dread washed over him. He decided to take the dog to the front of the store, hoping someone might be looking for it. With the dog in tow, he navigated the aisles, but the lights began to flicker more violently. Suddenly, the store's intercom crackled to life, and a voice whispered, "Help me." Alex froze in place. The voice sounded hauntingly familiar, like someone he'd known long ago. He turned, but the store was still empty, the shadows creeping closer. Then he heard footsteps behind him. He spun around, and there it was again. The figure in the blue vest, much closer this time. Alex felt paralyzed, staring into the dark figure's hollow eyes. "Please help me," it whispered, reaching out with a trembling hand. Panic surged through Alex as he dropped the dog and sprinted toward the exit, the figure chasing him, its footsteps echoing through the aisles like the tolling of a bell. He burst through the doors, gasping for breath. Outside, he turned back to look at the store, his heart racing. The lights flickered one last time before plunging the Walmart into darkness. The dog, now lost among the aisles, was left behind, and Alex was filled with a mix of relief and guilt. From that night on, Alex never returned to the store. The whispers of the man in the blue vest lingered in the air, haunting those who dared to work the night shift. It was a constant reminder that some secrets are better left buried in the dark. But as days turned into weeks, the story did not end there. Weeks later, Alex learned that the dog he had abandoned had been rescued by another employee who had the courage to return to the store. They discovered that the man in the blue vest was not merely a ghost. He had been a dedicated worker who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. The haunting wasn't about vengeance, it was about longing, about the need for closure that remained unfulfilled. The tale of the man in the blue vest had taken root among the employees. They exchanged stories during their breaks, recounting their own eerie experiences and the strange occurrences that seemed to plague the store. Each narrative added another layer to the legend, weaving a tapestry of fear that enveloped the night shifts. New employees often sat wide-eyed, soaking in the chilling tales. while seasoned workers nodded knowingly, sharing their own encounters with the unknown. One particularly stormy night, while the rain lashed against the windows, Alex's former co-workers huddled in the break room. They shared a collective nervous energy, knowing that the ghost of the man in the blue vest was among them. Each flicker of the lights caused hushed gasps, and every unexpected sound sent a shiver down their spines. It was on this night that they decided to confront their fears head-on. "Why don't we try to contact him?" one employee suggested, a tremor in her voice. "We could use a Ouija board." While some chuckled at the suggestion, others took it seriously. Alex's former co-worker, Jenna, who had a keen interest in the supernatural, was eager to facilitate the session. She had experience with the occult and believed that connecting with spirits could provide answers. After some deliberation, the group reluctantly agreed. They set up the Ouija board in the break room, the flickering lights casting ghostly shadows. Jenna lit a candle, and the atmosphere thickened with tension. The group gathered around the board, their hands trembling as they placed them on the planchette. "Is anyone here with us?" Jenna asked, her voice barely above a whisper. For a moment there was silence. Then, to their astonishment, the planchette began to move slowly across the board. It spelled out YES. The group gasped, hearts racing. Encouraged by the response, Jenna asked, "Are you the man in the blue vest?" Again the planchette moved, spelling out YES. A chill swept through the room as the realization settled in. They were communicating with the spirit that had haunted their workplace. "Why are you here?" Jenna asked, her voice shaky but determined. The planchette moved once more, spelling out LOST. A wave of sadness washed over the group as they grasped the weight of those words. This spirit was not a vengeful ghost. It was a soul searching for something that had been taken from him. "Can we help you?" Jenna pressed, hoping for a way to provide some peace. The planchette spelled out FIND. They sat in silence, processing the revelation. The man in the blue vest was not haunting them for revenge. He was trapped in a loop of searching, yearning for closure. This realization sparked a sense of responsibility among the employees. They could not turn their backs on this restless spirit any longer. Determined to help, the group began researching the man's disappearance. They learned that he had gone missing nearly 10 years prior, shortly after a shipment of products had come in. Rumors swirled about what had happened, but no one ever discovered the truth. They were determined to find answers, not just for the man in the blue vest, but for his grieving family as well. Over the following weeks, they pieced together a timeline of events leading up to his disappearance. They spoke to longtime employees who remembered him fondly, gathering stories of his dedication to his job and his kindness toward others. They discovered he had been a well-liked employee who had always gone above and beyond. After some digging, they uncovered that the man had been last seen near the loading docks on a stormy night, not unlike the one when they had held the seance. As they delved deeper, they learned about a shipment that had gone missing that same night, along with the man. Their investigation led them to believe that something more sinister had happened, and the possibility of foul play loomed over them. Fueled by a sense of purpose, the group decided to contact the police, hoping to bring the case back to light. They provided their findings, sharing their experiences with the ghost and their belief that the man in the blue vest was trying to communicate something important. Surprisingly, the police were receptive to their claims, intrigued by the possibility that new information could emerge from the shadows. With the help of the police, the investigation into the man's disappearance was reopened. They began interviewing past employees and reviewing old case files, looking for any clues that might have been overlooked. The renewed interest sparked hope among the employees, who felt they were finally doing something significant to help the man find peace. As they worked together, the bond among the employees grew stronger. They met regularly, sharing updates and brainstorming ideas. their collective spirit transforming the fear that once gripped them into a sense of camaraderie. They even started a small fund to help with the costs associated with their investigation, demonstrating their commitment to seeking justice for the man in the blue vest. Months passed, and with the police's renewed efforts, they uncovered new evidence that pointed toward a disgruntled former employee who had worked with the man. The